like
2018, 2019, somewhere in there.
yeah, so a long time ago, and then I have the second one as well that you signed for me as well.
Nice.
Um, but yeah, so, also, like, if you don't know so everyone and we don't have to keep this in, but from what I
Dusty.
remember from high school, everyone called you Dusty as
Correct.
well.
That's
Okay,
what I was
is that
gonna ask, if you wanted to call me Dusty.
okay. Yeah, I didn't know if that was the nickname that you were still going with, but that's what I
Yep.
remember.
Yep. It's been my whole life. My mom actually gave me that when I was born. Everybody's
Oh.
always called me Dusty. I've never actually gone by Theoden. Um,
Oh,
it's my
okay, but
official
it's a
name, so it's on
great
everything,
author name.
but
It's
yeah,
a
I mean, there's no way I could use anything else but Theoden for
yeah,
the author name, but
That is actually a really great author name, yeah.
get it? Get it?
yeah.
That's
I'm
my
And
so
my bio
sorry.
now
I'm
says,
like
"Oh, no, please take your time. I'm in no
I'm
rush."
rushing. I've been
No worries.
everything that could go wrong went wrong. I got caught behind a train.
Oh, fun.
Then my computer wouldn't load, and then right when I logged in, everything, like, went black for a second. I was like, "Oh my gosh, no, I
oh,
Oh,
can't handle this." Alright, give me
gotta
1
love
second.
technology.
actually, I don't know if Blake read there's an online version of the book that is not a new updated, like, edited version because it was when I very, very first published the book. I made my own ebooks on Smashwords, and it is
Oh,
not good and not like it is there's typos, there was at least one character name that I realized I gave 2 different characters the same name. For some reason, I love the name Elliot, I guess. So there's some things that have like distinctly changed if you use the ebook. But if she bought a newer book, then she actually may have the fatter version of the book than yours, Kathleen, because yours may
I
not
do.
have
oh,
the bonus chapters.
oh, yeah, I do not have bonus chapters.
Okay, Blake, did yours have bonus chapters? Do you remember? They're called
Oh,
interludes. Like
yeah, the
interludes.
interlude ones? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So like the oh, that is Kathleen. I have to send you a new copy.
Yeah, I need the interludes. I didn't know that there
You need the
was
interludes.
an updated version. I mean,
I
there's
didn't.
always my book has probably, like, 50 updated versions every time I
Oh, yeah.
find a new error.
Right,
Yes! Oh my
right.
gosh, that's
Valid.
I
Yep.
thought it was just me. Like,
No,
as
there's
an indie
always
No,
author, I'm
no,
like,
error.
definitely not. That was oh oh my god, I'm forgetting your name. Barnett.
Oh, I can't remember her first name.
Barnett's younger child was in my class, but because I do have a different book that's an ebook, and when they read it, they counted the typos and told me how many there were.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that hurt
I need that in my
just a little
life.
bit. But,
Oh.
so I've tried to be a little more careful since then, but whatever.
I
It
had
always happens.
somebody left a no-star review on Silencer, my first book, saying DNF'd at 5 pages because she used the word insinuate instead of indicate. And I'm like,
That
"Okay,
So
happened to me.
okay."
That happened to me with Carry Me Home. Someone was like, "Yeah, I DNF'd it on the first page because she used the wrong, like, version of this," and I'm like, "I'm so sorry."
Yeah.
And
I'm
I was like,
sorry you don't know the words I know.
Yeah.
I mean, that or, like, "I'm so sorry because, like, honestly, I did the best that I could. I don't do
Also,
grammar,
all
like."
books have typos. All
Of
books,
course,
every single book, no matter how
1000%.
many times it's edited, it has
I
typos.
used to I used to share them, and then I don't know, like, if the authors got pissed, so I stopped sharing them, but there is mm, one of my favorite, like, bigger authors, Harley LaRue. She had got all of her new books, redistributed. So, when they redistribute, they kinda do the cover over and
Oh,
have
yeah.
all these new things. So I was like, "Oh my gosh, I have to get," like, I read all of them digital, so I was like, "I have to get these copies." And so I went and they were like before we were boycotting Target, they were at Target and it was like, ran to Target, went to like 3 different Targets to get it, found it, and one of the, like, bonus chapters that they had used a different character from a different one of the books in this trilogy at the top.
Oh.
And I was like, if you're so worried about this, imagine that this person has, like, a big publisher or distributor,
It happens.
and that didn't stop the
Yeah, it happens so
I
much.
mean,
it
I just
happens to
read
everybody.
I just read Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead, which I mean, this is Pulitzer Prize winning. Like this is, this man's a legend. And there's a typo. Like there's a word that's repeated twice in a sentence when it shouldn't be. No, it's a thing. This is the
This
language.
copy I just dropped all of the books on the shelf. But this copy of The Art of War, The Art of War has been reprinted about 1 billion times. This copy, I found
Mhm.
6 typos. It's like,
Right. Right. That's what it is.
it's
But,
like
the frustrating part is that when they find it in other people's books, it's not a big deal. When they
indie
find it
book.
in
Yep.
indie books, it's like, "See, this is why I don't read indie author books, they're not as good," and I'm like,
Garbage.
first of all,
Yeah.
I decided a long time ago that if a typo was gonna be the thing that prevented you from reading my book, then you shouldn't
And
have read like, you don't
Right. You are not reading.
you're not and I mean, I write stories about, like, flawed people, so clearly you're not gonna understand my
yeah,
flawed people.
if
Right.
one flaw pisses you off,
If
yeah.
one
Yep.
small, like, thing just sets you off, like welcome back, guys. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Indie Ink Podcast. I am just recording this intro solo because the guest that we had on this week, Theoden Humphrey, and I kept talking and we talked right straight through Kathleen's hard stop. So sending a apology to her. But this episode was amazing. It features Theoden Humphrey and his book, The Adventures of Damnation Kane. And it was really special because Kathleen was taught by Theoden, and we call him Humphrey throughout the show. And it's fascinating to hear his story, but also hear their backstory and get to see how one teacher who has a book out inspired a student to have their book out as well. We also learned some funny back lore about Humphrey and Kathleen, about becoming a teacher, about how the story of a time traveling pirate came to be. And it's definitely a listen that you have to hear. So please make sure you make it through the entire episode. And when you're done, don't forget to rate us, follow us on social media, and tell everybody that you love the podcast that is working very hard to support other indie authors. Also, don't forget we do have our Fable group, and this next month's episode is going to be quite fascinating because instead of having a new person on the podcast and introducing a new book, Kathleen and I are going to be reviewing each other's books and getting into depth about how these books came to be. And I cannot wait. I've already gotten my copy of Kathleen's book, which is Silencer, and I'm so excited to get to dive into her world. And I can't wait to share that all with you. Don't forget that you can hop on over to Fable, and her book Silencer would be the book of the month on Fable, and you can chat with us and share quotes that you love, insights that you're like, what is going on? And then obviously parts where you want to scream at Kathleen and be like, why did you do this to me? My heart's so broken. But other than that, I can't wait for you guys to hear next month's episode. But for now, get ready to hear this month's episode. Bye.
Thank you everybody for watching this episode. I am so excited for this episode because this is my favorite teacher I've ever had on. I knew him as Mr. Humphrey, so we all just called him Mr. Humphrey, or some people would call him Humphrey. That was how it went. Are you taking a photo, Blake? It's so funny. So this is Theoden Humphrey, otherwise nicknamed Dusty, so I'll probably be referring to him as Dusty throughout this. He wrote the series The Adventures of Damnation Kane. I first read this when it was first published a long time ago, so I think we just talked about it was like 8 years ago when it
Mhm.
came out. When I wrote Silencer, he was one of the first people outside of my small group that I was like, I need to send you a book because I wrote a book. I wrote a book, look. And that was like my thing. I was so excited to send to him. Oh, everybody, welcome Theoden, and he's going to tell us a little bit about himself, and then we'll dive in.
So
Hi.
excited.
My name is Theoden Humphrey, as Kathleen said. I am a teacher, as she said as well. But I consider myself a writer who teaches rather than a teacher who writes. Um, and I have an obsession with pirates, so I have written now 3 books about pirates. This is the Adventure of Damnation Kane, books 1, 2, and 3. Um, and they get thicker as they go through because I'm also wordy. And then I actually just published my first horror novel. This is Brute,
Yeah.
and I'll have to talk about the cover of that. But this is also the beginning of a series that was just brought out. And I was going to say I'm really proud of that one, but I'm really proud of all of them. Um, and that is what I'm going to continue doing until they nail shut my coffin, if I can quote one of my favorite authors. And yes, I was Kathleen's English teacher in her sophomore year in honors English. She was the first student I've ever had. I've been a teacher for 26 years. The first student I ever had to ever write a book. So
Here's my book.
I loved it. I am still incredibly proud of her for doing it. I wish I had been like more of the person who taught her everything about writing. I'm not. I was just one of her English teachers, but still, um, I she was fantastic. And I'm really excited to be here and talking to her and you.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm so excited for this. I We were talking about it last episode about how English teachers are just so amazing. And it's funny because my dad keeps up with one of my English teacher and I call her my Finny,
Nice.
because she followed me through so many different grades. And I'm actually terrified to send her one of my works.
Oh, I was terrified too because well, I was terrified because I'm like, I know I've made mistakes and Humphrey's gonna be like,
Yeah.
I taught her better. Yeah, it's terrifying.
Good deal.
Okay, so let me read the blurb. So Blake and I read the first book in his pirate series, The Adventures of Damnation Kane. Um, so let's see, since last month, yeah. So I reread it because I had to go in and get quotes because I am not much
Mhm.
of an annotator. I don't know about you, Blake, or you, Humphrey.
Mm-mm.
I guess I'm just gonna
Mm-mm.
call you Humphrey. I can't. I just have to call you Humphrey.
All of
um,
my former students have trouble calling me anything other than Humphrey.
no,
It's too
I
engaged.
have to call
Totally
you
fair.
Humphrey.
Totally fair.
um, yeah, so I had to read through it, and so we picked out our favorite quotes for this, a bunch of random quotes. I have so many that are just hilarious. I can't wait to read them out. So the blurb: Damnation Kane, Irish pirate captain, born in 1650 to an English Puritan and an Irish Druidess. Though means or through means mystical and mysterious, somehow Damnation finds himself with his ship, the Grace of Ireland, and his crew of scalawags in strange seas. His ship damaged by battle and by storm's fury, Captain Kane and his men seek a safe harbor. They find it and they take it. Though in the process they meet dangerous new enemies and tensions among crew worsen because they do not know where they are nor how they came to be there. Is it hell, an undiscovered country, the blessed shores, the land of the Fae? No, it's Florida, near Miami in the year 2011. There's more on the back of it, but I feel like that part is just like the
Yeah, that's the
best
pitch.
synopsis for it.
Yeah.
This book is so fun. And readers, because we had you in the Substack to read along with us, so we're going to be doing spoilers. That's just what it is. Suck it up. You had your chance. If not, pause the video
Right
and
out my
come
mouth.
back. If not, pause the video and come back after you've bought the book.
And we also had the Fable chat too, where,
Yes.
I'm gonna call
Mhm.
him Humphrey because 'cause you're calling Humphrey. Humphrey and I are having a nice little it's always hard to get other people to, like, chat in those Fable chats. So sometimes I'm just chatting with myself. So when he joined, I was like, "There's someone else I can talk," and it was so cool because we were talking about the beginning of the chapters, and I actually got to because I'm highly unprepared. Today is By the way, today is not for the readers or the listeners who are watching this, but today when we recorded it is Indie Bookstore Day.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Awesome.
So I was vending
Nice.
and selling indie author books. And so that's why I'm, like, running around like a crazy maniac, and I left my book at home, which I'm so upset about. But luckily, I have at least one quote that I shared because you can share quotes on Fable while you're, like, reading it together. So I have one quote, but I left my book and all my notes, but I'm also not an annotator. I'm trying. I can't.
Can't. No, no.
This is this is just a little hilarious just because uh since I moved, because I actually left the school where I taught Kathleen I think at the end of the year of your year actually was my last year there. And I moved to Arizona where I live now. And when I came here, I became an AP English teacher. And so the thing that I have every one of my AP students to do and have done for the last 11 years is annotate everything. So now this is actually the one thing that my students associate with me the most is I
That's
make them write in books, write on stories, everything's on paper. I don't do anything electronically. It's all actual in hand, so they can write it, so they can annotate. So yes, I understand completely.
Mhm.
I've talked to so many people that do not like annotating, that have trouble with it because it interrupts the flow, it slows you down. Yeah, 100%. I absolutely vibe with that. I get it.
that is so
Struggle
funny. I did
I
not know
struggle
that
with
was
when I get
a
into
teacher.
it. When I get into the story, I struggle with, like once I'm in it, but I also struggle with writing in my books. Like, it's a thing that I'm
I'll
work
deface them. I'll deface
Good for
books.
you.
I
Good
just,
for you.
like yeah, writing words in them, I don't care. I crack the spine of every book. Sorry.
Good
that
It
doesn't
makes
bug
it easier to read.
that one doesn't bug me when people get so pissed about it. I'm like, "Look, a lot of these books have very tight spines, especially indie author books because we don't have the
Yeah,
same, like, production,
the
right?"
binding
So
and
the
stuff, yeah.
Yeah, it's so tight that you need to, like, give it
It needs to work.
a little
You gotta
wing
make it work.
flapping a little bit,
A little bit.
I'm just saying yeah, to get the juices flowing in the book. I don't know, it's maybe because I grew up around, like, more book purists that were like I remember when I used to fold my pages and people were like, "How dare you fold that
I
page?"
like
And
that
I'm
there's an English accent for that.
how it in my it comes from Harry Potter. I've been doing it a lot at work when she goes like, "Ronald Weasley, how dare you steal that car?"
Yeah.
That's like my when I think of
Okay.
how dare, just like in my head.
Alright. So, the first quote that I have, is this is on the first page, so this is log number 1, Arrival. It's on the very first page of it. "I don't know who to pray to or who to curse, come to that." Um, and I just love that quote because I already knew the story, and that at the beginning going, "I don't know who to pray to," and then the other stuff that happens in the story is just kind of hilarious. So this is right, at the beginning, they are, sailing in the 23rd of June in the year 1678 at the very beginning of this book. And immediately, Kane's inner monologue and whatnot infused with the prose is very like, so this is happening again. There's this happening. People are fine. Like, I don't know what's happening. It's all occurring at the same time. There's chaos, and I'm just wandering around at the
Yeah,
very beginning.
yeah.
He seems fed up already.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. I mean, it's so the a couple things that come clear, I hope, pretty quickly is that, um, he is he's not only, like, sort of at the end of his rope, but he's been at the end of his rope for, like, weeks, if not months, right? Because this has been this impossible sort of this cat and mouse game, the sea chase, all the way across the Atlantic, which he doesn't quite realize because he's not fully aware of where he is, but, yeah, that he's just like, I can't write another one of these goddamn logs when say the same things and as always this it just keeps doing the same thing, but also there's been this big shift, right? Because it's not really the same thing now. All of a sudden the entire situation has changed and he can't understand why, so he's both like wanting to sort of wishing it was still the same thing again and also tired of keeping a log still, but knowing that he kind of has to because that's the way he's going to make sense of this anyway. So yeah, it's all I was trying to capture a guy desperately trying to make sense of what's going on and mostly failing. um,
Yeah. I
so
mean,
that
that
was
came
the playing. I don't know
across.
who the kid is. Yeah, yeah, good.
Yeah, that came across. He was like, you start reading it and you're like, "Oh, this guy's fed up." He's fed up and he's also like, "Okay, but wait, there's something new and exciting, so that's kinda cool. I kinda like that." And then the entire book, he's like, "Oh my god, just let me sleep, please.
Like,
My
why is
back
this going
hurts.
on?
Please,
I'm
let me sit
old, let me rest. I've been through too much at this
down."
point.
Yeah, there's
I've
there's definitely
portaled
some
through
of me in that.
time.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, the next quote that I have, um is I have a bunch right here. Okay, this is, I think, my favorite quote in the book with no context behind it. I looked at the glass plaque. Have any of you heard of a heathen god called Verizon?
No. Oh, I swear I think we have the same
Yep,
quote. Hold
yep,
on.
yep. That
Where's
was
my
one.
fable?
That
Quote
was
so much because, like, yes, obviously they don't know what cell phones are, but also referring to Verizon as a heathen god is just incredible.
that's it.
You can't see it,
That's it.
but it literally says, "Have you heard of the heathen god called Verizon?" And jokes on the best part is that, like, I now have Verizon
Yay!
as cell phone,
So are you a
and
worshiper?
I mean, I never was, and then now I guess I kinda am. I'm a worshiper of the
No.
heathen god of Verizon. I like their prices.
That's right. So yeah, so the book actually started as a serial blog. I wanted to do um, a blog that I posted a chapter and a story every week. There was I can't
Mhm,
remember the name of it now, but there was a like post-apocalyptic zombie blog that had been doing that for like 3 to 5 years. The guy had just been every week he posted a new chapter in the story, and I really loved that. And so it started. It was not intended to be a book. I didn't write it as a book. I wrote it as this is a chapter, and then the next week I'd post another chapter because partly because I'm really bad about deadlines, and bad about like habits and having good habits. Shocking, I
mhm.
know, but as an author, but I wanted to, to try and set myself that like every week I have to have something that I'm going to post. I have to have something to post. Um, and so that's, that was the original format with that. So, and I started writing it in 2013. And so, I mean, you watch television and you're going to see 20 or 30 Verizon ads, and I had Verizon.
Yeah.
So it's one of those moments where you're like, you don't have to advertise this to me. I already pay you. Can you just
Yep,
leave me alone, please?
yep.
So I was seeing that. And then I mean, a lot of this was just thinking about what somebody from like 1678 would think of the modern world. How would he make sense of it? And seeing people, in that moment, like he's seeing modern people that are in a moment of desperation, um, because he's attacking them with his pirates, and I don't know what the hell is going on. All of a sudden, these crazy looking men
Yeah.
with blunderbusses and swords are running through the house. And I mean, so fear on their faces, and they have like phone to their face, right? Like they're talking to their
Mhm.
phone like it's going to help them. And so that's how he thinks of it: is this doesn't make any sense other than it's sort of an object that has some way to help them just in the magical object. But one of the things I actually struggled with a little bit was that like he doesn't believe in magic, but he kind of does, and then he ends
He
up
has
having
to.
to because look where the hell he is and how he got there, and it turns out that actually there's a lot of magic involved. But in the beginning, I was trying to make him that he kind of doesn't believe in that, so he's just struggling with what the hell how to make sense of all of it.
Found it really interesting, like, going back to what was happening around that quote. Um, and, like, him just seeing the new age for the first time and, him trying to make sense of the television and the, like,
Yeah.
glass sliding doors, and he's like,
Hard.
"She
Oh,
Aim for
she
the
must be
eyes.
fey." And then no, my favorite thing is the car.
yep,
And it's just like
dragon
this
beast,
beast.
right?
And when they take her, like, her house, the and so when they kidnapped the, like, little girl, that was a maid, it wasn't, like,
That's the
her
main, yeah,
daughter?
that's right.
Okay, because I was so confused at first. I was like, "She has a daughter?" And then it mentioned maid, and I was like, "I'm not paying attention enough. Hold on a second." You know how, like, you read and then you're like, "Did I miss
Mhm.
something?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And, just, like, the battle they have with the vehicle
That
was
Oh
was
my
so much
god.
fun to write.
It was so
so
fun.
hilarious to
And they were
me.
so strategic, they're like, "You gotta aim for the eyes, those are its weak points," and meanwhile, it's just, like, these cars sitting there. And they're like, "I think they're slaves."
But you know what, the thing that makes me this book in general makes me think about is the things that happened back then that were, like, completely I mean, not completely acceptable, but, we talk about when you bring them into this current world and you look at them like, we watch, what is the pirate movie that I can't
There's
Pirates of the
Pirates of the
Caribbean?
Caribbean, there's
Yeah,
Black Sails,
Pirates of the Caribbean,
Silver Dawn.
we watch all of that and it's fantasy to us, even though a lot of it actually, like, existed in, real time, but it's fantasy to us, and it exists in a different world. But when you look at it in our world, you're like, "This is kind of really terrible."
Yep. Yep.
Like,
Absolutely.
I'm reading it and I'm like, some of the things they're doing, I'm like, "Oh, no, this is, like, not acceptable." I mean, in the best way possible, but I love that, like, just position of it being, "Okay, this is what we do in our world, and that's totally normal and acceptable." But now in the world 2011, oh, no,
And
you
yet
can't do that.
spoiler, the one of the biggest villains is a modern day man. So,
Well,
all the
evil
pirates
knows
from the
no time.
1600s were like, "What the fuck is this dude doing? What? He's gone crazy."
Evil evolves as time evolves.
Yeah, that's very true. Immediately after this quote, the next few pages, again, it's just more of that type of stuff. The magic mirror wall that showed lights that were not those without these walls, the cabinet of light. I just
The
love
the
how he's describing these things.
the cabinet of light, is that the fridge?
That's the fridge. Yep.
Sent me.
The
Well,
cabinet
because
Sent
of
me.
like if he opens the fridge, right? What's he going to recognize in the average fridge? Maybe some of the food, but maybe it's not the same way he'd see it. He'd just see like cartons and bottles and whatever. But what he'd notice, I mean, is the light. The light comes on as soon as you open the door. So to him, it's just you open the door and there's light inside a cabinet. And how the hell does that work? So yeah,
It was what light ever shown this bright, no candle I've ever known.
you know,
Could they have a candle inside there? No candle I've ever known.
he
It's
almost
just
became religious to that fridge.
yep.
yeah,
I mean, what better to worship, really?
Yeah,
the
that's
pagan god refrigerator.
a refrigerator.
Perfect.
Hey, it could be the pagan god name. And then on the next page, again, this is Verizon, but this was so funny. So this was the maid. Um, she was freaking out and he couldn't understand her. And then he bends down to her eye level, grabs her chin, and he just says, "Verizon cannot hear you now." And it's like one of those quotes where it's like, "Your God will not save you now," but it's Verizon cannot hear
Right.
you now.
Because Verizon's heard, I mean,
I mean,
honestly, did Verizon come through? Because people showed
no,
up.
that's true. That's true. But
I mean,
I was,
Verizon
I
didn't
was,
save her, but
I was so proud of that. I was so proud of that. Like my finding the way to squeeze that joke in there and make it make sense, especially coming from
mhm.
Damnation instead of somebody else making the reference. Like that's one of the things I'm happiest with.
Yeah, I started, like, dying laughing. I didn't remember that quote the first time I read it, and when I was rereading it, I was like, "Oh, that's so fucking funny," because that's, like, every, like, movie scene or whatever where they're like, "Your God has no place here, and this Verizon can't hear you." And she's probably just like, "What?
Exactly.
What
Right.
are you
She's like,
talking
"I
about?"
got cell service. What do you mean?"
Yeah, what do you mean?
Right.
Oh, that's so funny. The
Well, this was.
next
I mean,
quote.
please go.
No, 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 you get if you wanna say something, you can go.
Well, it was just like the basic idea of this, right? This was
Mhm,
because I wanted to write pirate story, right? I'm obsessed with pirates. I've been obsessed with pirates
mhm,
for a very long time now. Um, and when I was, I finished the book before that, which actually was with the vampire book that I wrote, the horror book. That's the one I finished before I started Damnation. Wait, no, never mind. So complete tangent. There was another book that I wrote that actually was the first time I did NaNoWriMo, the National Novel Writing Month in November, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I did it in 2013. So when Kathleen was in my class, I wrote this
mhm.
book. It is it is a book that I do not know that I can publish until I stop teaching. Um,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
and if I ever do publish it, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe it is okay for me to publish it because hopefully the world can separate me from the fiction that I write. Um, Kathleen, it is set in the town where you were in high school when my
I need this book. Oh
thousand
my god.
percent. I
Is it
I
a
describe
horror book?
I mean, I changed the names, but it is no, it's published nowhere whatsoever. There is
oh,
one person on the planet who has read it other than me, and it's not my wife, because my wife reads everything I write, and this one, she said, "I cannot read this."
'cause
So,
yeah.
I'll just like
His
the
so, the school at the same time, Blake. I think at the same time that I was there.
Mhm.
But also, do you wanna know how exciting this is for me, Blake? The town that, he taught in, that I was growing up in,
Mhm.
has so much lore to it. The
Okay. So what you're saying is that we need secret copies of these books because 'cause
Yes,
I'm not your student, and I never was
I
your
need an
Gotcha.
student.
art copy
Gotcha.
immediately,
And
and
I
then
Well, well,
love your writing in
thank you.
general.
Thank you. Um,
that oh
the
my
so
god.
the mystery book, the reason I can't publish it is it's not actually like it's not dirt. It's not like that I have all the backstory in the town. It is that it is about a teacher who commits a school shooting.
Ooh,
Need it.
And that feels like something that I can't publish while I'm a teacher
Yeah,
because
okay, you know what? That
the
one's that
character is
one's
pretty distinctly like me. Like it's not me obviously, but it's a little too close and I feel like people would
you
freak out a
might get
little bit if I
examined.
published that book, but
that's a good point.
anyway.
So that's
Yeah.
So,
a good point. Also,
regardless.
not a far-fetched thing to hear if you know teachers'
But
lives.
but
Not a
hey,
far-fetched here.
maybe maybe I need to actually go ahead and publish the book and stop teaching and just write all the time. So, maybe I'll end up doing that.
I mean,
But I would love to just write all the time.
Yes.
this is why Kathleen makes fun of me all the time. She says that I do too much and I don't ever sleep, which is true because I hung out with my coworkers last night, got home at like 3 in the morning.
Blake has,
Nice.
like, 4 jobs.
I do. I have so many things going on. And again, I apologize for running late because all of my jobs just keep me like going. That's also why you see me eating noodles because the only thing I've consumed today were egg bites and I've had 2 matchas. Um,
Please eat the
On
noodles.
Steam.
Carry on.
but I do all of this. I do the podcasting and everything. And I've thought about it like, okay, so say my books don't become the biggest thing, although I hope they do. Please, universe.
Verizon?
Ver- Pagan God Verizon, um, can you hear me? But if podcasting or one of my businesses lets me just write, that will make me, really happy to be able to do that. And so like I sacrifice a little bit of not getting to write right now because I'm trying to ooh, excuse me, get all these things going, but because my end goal is to be able to just live and write.
Mhm. Same.
I don't know if you guys would answer the same way, but literally yesterday I was with my brother and sister-in-law, and of course we were talking about the lottery as everyone who is lower class or middle class talks about somewhat
Mhm.
often.
Mhm.
And they were saying what they want to do if they won the lottery, and then they asked me, and my
Mhm.
genuine answer was I would write. Like I would
No,
just
yeah.
be able to write. That sounds like the dream. Like that I would
Absolutely.
literally just be able to write and I would enjoy the rest of my life. Like I don't need to do
Would,
else.
like, just buy out because I'm in Royal Oak, Michigan right now. I would just buy out a loft here, right? Like they do in New York because they don't do that much here, but I would just, like, buy out a loft here, um, pay whatever rent I need at this place years in advance, and then just write. My mom just sent me, this thing, and it's a joke because I always bring astrology into like, my astrology into it, and she just sent me this thing about how Sagittariuses just wanna, like, ghost everybody and for their peace and not doing like, I just wanna, like, sit in there for, like, 3 weeks straight until it drives me crazy, writing and binge watching
Are you
TV
not
shows,
already
reading
crazy? I
books.
feel like I'm already crazy when I
No,
write.
I'm already
Yeah. But
We're all
speaking
I
of
li
imagining. Sorry.
you
yeah.
you miss me go, "Oh, crap, I'm supposed to be taking my medicine right now," and it's in my car, so it's gonna have to wait. But no, I agree with you. I mean, I would wanna I like clothes,
Sure. It's fair.
so
Would
that
you
probably
Humphrey, would you just write as well?
I mean, I'd read. I gotta add that. I know we're
yeah.
that goes without saying, so I don't need to say it, but it's important enough for me to add because I have the last couple of years have been a little bit rough, and so I have
Mhm,
not been reading as much as I want to, and I have not been writing really at all. That's part of why I did the vampire book this time because I already had the manuscript. Even though
mhm.
I oof, I had the second book in the series written, mostly written, and then I realized that I didn't like any of it, and I had to throw it out completely, and I have to rewrite the entire thing, which I want to do, but also I don't know that I have the energy to do. But this is the main advantage. This is actually the reason that I went into teaching was summers. It was 100% summers. I know everybody, everybody talks about like, no, teachers do it because we love helping people and we want children and make a difference. And yeah, that's great. I wanted summertime so I could write. That was 100% lie. It was actually my wife's idea because I hated high school. I was a terrible high school student, did not enjoy really
Mhm.
any of my classes or most of my teachers. But when I was in college and I was trying to, wanted to become a writer, and I met my wife who is brilliant, and just this is she painted all the covers. All the cover art is actually my wife's paintings, because she's amazing in every way.
I was
So
wondering because I loved the cover art.
I know they're incredible. And this is sorry, too many tangents, but that fits. Um,
Yeah, we love
this is
tangents.
my fault. Okay, I mean, I sort of like the. Actually, hang on. I have a matte one, so you don't see the
I like
shine.
that.
No,
I
I was gonna say,
So
I think it's
Oh, the mat looks
the
really
no, the
matte
ma
is
I think
cool. I
it's
just got the
kind
glossy
of
one because I like the matte.
genius.
I know. I'm not mad about it honestly, but like this is my fault. So one of my problems
So
is
she's not a
uh,
part of this part.
no, well, no, so I I have almost no visual imagination. I am almost
Mhm,
100% auditory as a thinker. Is like I think in sentences. I talk to myself in my head all the time. I close my eyes.
mhm,
I just see the inside of my eyelids. I don't really see anything, even when I'm writing for the most part. So my ideas of visuals are terrible. They're cool, but they're terrible. They are
mm,
unachievable as art. So when she was doing this, no, third book, when she was doing this one, she was like, "What do you want me to do for the cover?" And I'm like, "Okay, so time travel, right? And they're stuck, but they're kind of breaking through. So what about like he's in an hourglass and instead of sand, it's the ocean and the ship is in the top of the hourglass and like maybe the water's like swirling down or something like that. Or maybe the glass
mhm,
is broken and it's sailing out through a break in the glass and a spill. And she went, okay, I'll try because she loves me and she wants to do, what the idea that I had. And then she
mhm,
worked on that for, I don't know, weeks, and finally I had to sort of say like, so what about this isn't working? And she kind of stops and she goes, Dusty, I can't paint glass, it's transparent. If there's an image on the other, like if there's an object on the other side, you can't do glass. And also if you want the ship to be visible as a ship, then you won't see the hourglass because that's too big to have the small thing inside. And I don't know how to make it look like the ocean if it's swirling down. And she's like, it just can't work. Can I just do something that I'll think of? And I said, yeah, please. I will. I should have
mhm.
shut up in the first place. Please do something. And she came up with a third cover, which I think is absolutely gorgeous. Because the other two were all her. I didn't have anything to do with them. She came up with the ideas and just created them.
Mhm,
So I did the same thing with Brute. I had an idea and I'm like, could you do this and like eyes and like teeth and stuff? Cause it's like vampires and blood and I don't know, something. And it was visually like cool, but visually a terrible idea. But, she, like I said, she loves me. And so she tried. And I had the same conversation at some point. I was like, I did it again, didn't I? And she went, yeah, I can't, this can't work. So I wanted to publish it
Dude,
so I could do it at the festival where I was selling books, and so I just did the blank cover. But I actually had like people liked it, like people noticed it, they were interested in it,
mhm.
so it wasn't terrible. I'm not mad about it. Anyway,
it
There
stands out.
it does. There's, okay, so weird pop culture reference, but, like, follow me. One of the biggest music videos that people talk about is "Single Ladies" by Beyoncé. And it's, like, stripped of all of the storytelling and everything from it. It's just Beyoncé and 2 other girls dancing and the camera circling them in lights. And people love the, like, simplicity of it because you really get to see, like, the artistry and the thought. And I think that that's the same for book all of us are, like, authors are trying to get these book covers, right? That are, like, eye-popping and you're gonna wanna read the book, and I mean, Kathleen's gone with me while I've been redoing all of my covers and, like, the frustration wanting to pull my hair out of it and everything, and there's a beauty in the concept that you could just
there's
black I
no
mean, and it stands out, black with red says everything I need to know.
yep,
Horror, dark.
word,
Yeah.
yep, all that, right,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the beauty and the simplicity of it is what I think stands out because when you're looking at a sea of all these colorful images and then you're like, this is just straight black. I think it's genius.
Good. So
Yeah.
my mistakes are perfect. I love it. Um, I think, I mean, if anything, the problem is that I don't write that way. I do not write simple, as you have, clearly found because you've been
Mhm.
reading my book. Um, yeah, so it was just, when I started writing the book, I wanted to write a pirate story. It was my wife's idea that I do something with time travel, and that's where I hit the first snag, right? Because it's like, okay, I can do time travel where somebody goes back to pirate times, and
Mhm.
but I don't know how to make that interesting in a way that hasn't already been done. Um,
Mhm.
and I'm not against, doing my interpretation of something that's been done. I mean, Jesus, I wrote a vampire book. Like, there's not 50 million of them. Um, it was inspired by Twilight, by the way, which also has like lore attached to Kathleen's town. Um,
Yes. Yep.
have you ever told her about the Twilight lore?
No,
Well,
I've never told her.
Are
love to
you
talk about that.
holding out on me?
Probably. Oh, anyway, so
What's
You'll
happening?
hear in a second. You'll hear in a second.
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
no, so I wanted to do time travel because I loved that idea, but I couldn't think of a
Mhm.
good way I didn't come up with that. What I came up with actually was the name, Damnation Kane. It literally just came to me in the shower. Um, names are really important for me for at least for my main characters. Um,
Mhm.
and so I just once I thought of that, I had to make it happen. And then it was just a question of what I wanted. I didn't want it to be like a picked up name, right? Like he didn't take it as a fake name to cover up his real identity or anything. I wanted that to be the name that he was given. And so I tried to think of
Mhm.
a way to do it, and it made sense for him to be Irish and for it to come from that era because it was Kane is actually an anglicization of an Irish name, which he mentions in there. His mother has the Irish spelling of his name. And
Mhm.
then for damnation, I thought of Puritans and how Puritans used to give their children virtue names, right? Faith and hope and charity. They would name their daughters and things. Um, and so I thought, what would be a situation where a Puritan would name his child Damnation?
I
And
hate
I
you
thought,
so
well,
much that your name is Damnation.
Yeah.
so I thought of a scenario where that could happen. That's probably my favorite chapter in the book is when Damnation, as a young boy, his mother takes him to meet his father,
Mhm.
the Puritan captain. And I mean that the answer is that he is the child of rape, that it was during the war because the Puritans invaded Ireland in 1649. And there was, under Oliver Cromwell, who was a Puritan commander, and so like Puritan men who consider themselves to be right the chosen elect of God, and they're going to kill all the Irish because the Irish are heathens to them because they're not the right flavor of Christianity, and so he rapes this girl that he finds, and she is impregnated by that, and then this is the child, and so she says in that scene that when she presented him with the child, she says, "This is your child," and he says, "No, that's my damnation." And she went, "You got it, buddy. That's the
Okay.
name. He is now
Okay.
damnation." So I loved that, but I still wanted to do time travel, right? So okay, so I've got this character who's going to be born in 1650. Time travel.
Mhm.
Do I make him go back to like 1200? Do I go back to like biblical times? I mean, that sounds
Mhm.
kind of cool, but how do you possibly relate to that? And I am not knowledgeable enough of history to make that happen. So I had the idea to have him come to now when at least
Yeah,
I know it.
Mhm.
it being 2011 and also just in Miami, Florida is, like, the most hilarious. He could have 'cause the thing, he could have ended up in Portland, and people would not have looked at him differently. They're like, "Yeah, this is like this."
That is
Yeah,
valid. Yes,
go to Portland.
right. You got to
Yeah,
go.
yeah, you gotta go because no, he would
That is
fit
valid.
right in. And, like, people would start speaking in the same type of, Old English that he's speaking, like,
Yep.
whatever. Okay,
Yep.
wait, I have a question. This is
Yep.
from, so this is during the time where Kane offers, Schluxer a deal, I guess, an IOU. My question is, what favor would you ask of a 1600s pirate?
Wow. Um, I I would want to. I suppose I'd want to go on the ship. Um, I am I am terrified of the ocean. I am fascinated by ships. Um,
Mhm.
I have never actually been on like a serious tall ship, like a multi-masted, fixed mast, whatever. I've been on sailing boats,
Mhm.
but I've never been on like a ship. and I would love that. So I think in at the end of the book, there's another character who he takes on a cruise, um, like as the lawyer character that he takes on a cruise, to sort of reward him for the work. I think that's probably me like living out that fantasy. I'd want to go for a sail. Part of me says I'd want to go like raid something and be like at an actual pirate battle.
Uh,
But I mean, I'm a coward. I'm a pacifist. I would not turn out well in that. So I kind of feel like I'd be like, can we go? Never mind. Can we just go sailing? That'd be cool. Um,
yeah,
Probably
that's a
that.
I
good.
think I'd be really okay. We established that I'm not sane, correct? Okay, so I have so many anxieties. It's insane at this point. Things being not clean is one of my
He is definitely not clean.
it's one of
There's
my
some bad
biggest
scenes for you that I
anxieties.
understand.
Oh, like in the beginning, I mean, just in general, when they describe their ship, and I'm just like, this doesn't sound clean, guys.
This doesn't sound clean.
they're they're pirates. They're not clean. They're not. That's
I
not
They're
what they
not
do. That's not who
clean.
they are.
that and or when they were describing somebody's teeth, and I was like,
Oh, yeah. Oh, the
yeah,
descriptions of the teeth, I was gagging. I was like,
I
"You
also
fucked up,
hate
Humphrey.
mouths.
Move on, please."
I was like, no, no.
Oh,
How do we immediately make this stop?
yeah.
But I don't. I guess I don't know what mine would be. I know. Okay, I do love video games, and some of my favorite video games were like
Even
Tomb
good.
Raider and
Nice,
Uncharted.
nice,
And so what I would want was I would want for them to give me a map to their treasure.
nice.
So and
That's
I
cool.
don't want them they could drop a little, little hints, little game hints here and there, but I would want to go on a real live treasure hunt on a very
Like,
clean vessel.
very clean vessel. Okay.
Okay, so I mean, it's both kind of obvious and it feels a little bit, I don't know, cheesy, I guess, for me to try to pitch my other books, but, Blake, you have to finish the series now because in the 3rd book,
Mhm.
there is exactly what you are talking about happens.
Okay.
Exactly,
Oh,
precisely, literally what you are talking about happens.
I haven't read the 3rd book.
Also don't feel bad about pitching all of your
You're
books.
supposed
Pitch
to.
them.
You're
You're
supposed
Yeah.
to talk
supposed
about all of your books over and over again.
I'm
Yeah, but you
learning
see,
this
I
as
suck at that.
well.
Please go ahead.
It's no, it's hard. I mean, it's hard because the world teaches you that you have to be, like, humble about your things that you do. And you can't, like, brag or you can't showcase or you can't, be upfront about your stuff. And it's like, do those people actually get anywhere? Unless they have, a
They already
Kardashian
have the
backing them.
millions and whatnot. Yeah, it's easy to be humble when you have all the money in the world.
Right. Like and it's not humble to
Quiet.
talk about. Yeah, like to talk about something that you worked on. Let me just tell you, LinkedIn is basically a creation of people not being humble and sharing everything. Like the only point of LinkedIn is to share what you did good at your job.
That makes
It's
sense, right?
it's the most vain of the social media that I've found because you want to show people that you're good at your job so that if something happens and you can get hired because someone was watching you and they look at your post and they see how good you are at your job. Like LinkedIn is literally based off of you being a little bit narcissistic about yourself. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the point is that if we want to book these jobs or get our books out there, we have to be, I don't, maybe not narcissistic, but we have to be a little bit more self concerned with ourselves and not concerned what other random people who can't write books think. Because the people who
Also,
get,
the whole point of marketing. Blake and I were talking about this our last episode that we're like,
Mhm.
you like humiliation be damned. We humiliate ourselves online
Oh my
every
God.
single day just for a couple book sales. And that's just what you have to do. Like I saw this girl on threads, on the author threads, whatever. She wanted to sell some books and she knew part of her market, so she took a photo of her 3 books stacked on top of her feet.
Hey, you know what?
So,
Alright, alright.
You
people
know
I
what?
don't think people understand the lengths that we will go to just be like, "Please read my book."
I'm
Please.
I'm actually thinking, like right now on TikTok, it's a trend to be like, what dress your age? So I'm actually thinking about when I'm not extremely exhausted,
Oh, do
doing a
marketing thing.
yeah, more marketing thing,
Yeah.
marketing books, but I'm thinking about doing a TikTok trend where it's like, "Let me dress as my character would dress in this,
Oh,
like, day and age."
Humphrey probably has an outfit for that already for
Yeah,
Oh yeah, of course I do.
Yeah, of course.
yeah,
Actually, I know you do because on the, like, National Pirates Day or whatever, he would dress up as a pirate at
That's correct.
school. Yeah.
That's correct. Do my full
And
pirate
then
voice. Absolutely. Yep.
yeah, and he would do the whole
I do that
pirate
now for
voice.
every Halloween as well. I'm a
Oh.
pirate for every Halloween. I will be a pirate for every Halloween until I die. That's who I am. I'm a pirate.
I'm a witch
I
every
have the
Halloween.
I got the
Nice.
hat behind me if you want me to put it on.
Yes, but oh, yeah, why isn't the hat on? We're
Yeah,
anything about a pirate book.
yeah, we need the hat.
Nice. Yes.
Hi, matey.
Excuse me.
Amazing.
My
Oh my
my shoulder hurt.
I had oh, yeah, the parrot.
I
Oh
have
my
an
god.
actual bird, but he's too shy. I shouldn't bring him out. But yeah, I got this. He actually does have a shoulder strap, so I can wear it all the time. Yeah.
Oh
We need to go to Renaissance Fair, guys.
So do I.
my Do you go to Renaissance fairs, Humphrey?
I don't. I don't. There's a huge one in Arizona too that I should go to, but um, I hate driving. I hate it, and so the fact that it's like a 2-hour drive away doesn't really work for me very well.
Yeah,
So be
that's
it.
fair. That's
I
fair. I
love
love
driving.
Oh, I was gonna say I love Renaissance fairs. I do not
Oh.
love driving though, no.
Okay, so clearly we just need me to drive. We'll go to
Drive.
Renaissance Fair.
You can drive
I literally drove an
hard.
hour just to get here.
What?
Yeah, and then I gotta drive, like, 30 minutes to get
If I don't
I
have to
just
touch a car, I won't. I
I
won't.
love there's something okay, like,
Walkable, bikeable.
a autumn night, just driving on an empty freeway is one of the best feelings in the world.
I can see that.
Okay.
I can see that.
I think that, like, driving for me I hate driving I don't like driving the freeway all the time, I like scenery, but it's all about the timing. I cannot drive when there's, like, traffic, again, have a lot of issues, gives me severe anxiety. Um, can't do traffic. But I love to drive, so what we're gonna do is I'll just drive
Maybe use like
us,
a
and I
boat.
want to could we take a boat? That would be so much or a train.
Not in
Guys, let's
Arizona.
have a murder
Yep.
mystery train ride.
I like that.
Oh,
I
oh,
like that.
like, the first festival that technically my book showed up in was
Mhm,
the, book festival that Humphrey goes to in Arizona. Uh,
mhm.
what is it called again? Tucson
The Festival of
Festival?
Books, just Tucson Festival of Books. Yeah,
Tucson Festival of Books, but he was reading my book at the time, so it I think had
correct.
just been released or something,
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
and he brought it there. I was like, "That's the first time my book has appeared in the wild."
That's
Yep.
so cool.
It was
Yeah,
great.
at that event. Um, oh, this is not a funny quote. This is one I that just summed up Cain for me, for a
Mhm,
lot of the book. God Almighty, let the risks I take be for the best for my ship, my captain, and my friends, I beg of thee. So this is Gallows or Ian talking about them or whatever with Cain, but I feel like that is him now finally being and acting like Cain. He clearly didn't make some good decisions. So this is my opinion. He clearly didn't make some good decisions. All right, buckle in, folks. I have some opinions. He didn't make
Glenn.
some good decisions. He betrayed his oldest friend. He, fucked him over. He helped, what's his name? Schultz. What's his name?
There's Schluxer, there's, and
Schultz.
then
And
yeah,
then, yeah, but he helped them like take his boat, Kane's boat,
sorry.
and he in his first logs that he starts writing, he immediately is regretful, but he's so shameful and guilty of it, and he's like, "Oh my god,
Mhm,
I need to correct this. I don't know what I'm doing. I feel so lost in my own decisions and thoughts. I don't know who I am anymore." And then he says this quote at the end that he wishes the best for his ship, for his captain, and his friends. And Kane sort of starts the book by saying, "What I want is to protect like my friends, my ship, my people. Like that's
mhm.
all I want." And to see that quote is him becoming that type of person he was wanting to be, and that's also a perfect quote for Kane because it's like emulating who he is at his core, just what he wants. He's
Mhm.
like, "I just care about my ship, okay, and my buddies, like, let me be."
That's all that matters to me, the ship and the
Mhm.
buddies. It makes me think of the Navy. The Navy's, like, one of the things that they drill into your head, and, honestly, a lot of the, like, the terms and stuff make me think of Navy terms because they nautical terms, like, the Navy got all these terms, by the way, from times like this. Um, but it's shipmate, self. So, like, the first thing you do is the best for your ship, the second thing you do is the best for your shipmate, and then the last thing you do is the best for yourself. Um, and, I kind of that makes me think of that, and you're right, it's a growth to see like you said, we all make questionable choices. I've made a shit ton of them.
As we have all we have.
Yeah, but sometimes the mark of a great human isn't the mistakes that they make, but what they learn from them.
I agree.
And if you, in the end, like, yeah, you screwed people over, you're gonna have to make that up or pay for the consequences, whatever, whatever, whatever. But if in the end, if you got the point, maybe it took you longer to get there or whatever, but no one's perfect. No one gets like there are some people who wake up and be like, I'm just a good person. I'm gonna do everything right. And there's some people who have to fall down, fall through the darkness and everything like that, make all the bad decisions, and then they get it right. And I don't think either person is better or worse.
Yeah, agreed. Definitely agreed. This is
Philosophical drop.
perfect. Thank you. Um, That's I mean, maybe my worst habit, which shows up too much in the book, is
Mhm.
I have a deep need to philosophize. So
Mhm.
I made sure that I had a main character that, is that is probably not how a pirate would write. That's probably not how a pirate would talk. It's probably not how a pirate would think. But fuck it, it's my pirate, right? So um my pirate is gonna be a philosophical pirate. And so there's a bunch of moments when he stops and tries to think about things and tries to come up with something that he can, like you're saying, like a thing that he can learn from it. This
Mhm.
this entire story starts with mistakes that he made. He makes a mistake getting trapped by the privateer that chases him. He makes a mistake, just running and not doing something else, and then it just compounds from there. Um,
Mhm.
this also, I will say, no spoilers, but it continues through the future books. Um, Things do not improve in the second book. Uh, Poor Kane as like a leader, as a captain, he struggles much, much more with the same thing. Because I mean, so one of the things I love about pirates is that there is, and this is, there's different people, right? And different pirates act different ways, and some of them are just complete fucking lunatics that will do as much harm as they possibly can to everybody around them because they're murderers and rapists and all that. But
Mhm.
the the men who ran the cruise are mostly entirely about loyalty to each other. Oh,
Mhm.
here, this is so one of my favorite fun facts. I don't want to say fun fact. One of my favorite trivia facts about pirates is
Mhm.
where the word buccaneer comes from. So buccaneer is actually a version of the word boucanier, which is French, and it's essentially like a boucan is a grid of green sticks that you weave together, and then you use it to hold meat over the fire so you can smoke it. So it's sort of like barbecuing. Okay,
Mhm.
that's a boucan. So a guy who runs a boucan is a boucanier, and that's where buccaneer comes from because when the Spanish came to the New World and started colonizing places, they seeded some of the empty islands in the Caribbean with cows, so that the cows would grow wild and they could stop off, hunt cows, get meat as they were about to head back to Spain, right? And so men, of course, went onto these islands and made themselves middlemen. They would hunt the cows, they would smoke the meat, they would sell it to the ships that came by. Those men were boucaniers. Um, and so they were the ones who like barbecue the meat. But the interesting thing about them was, first of all, most of them became pirates because they were goddamn good shots because they hunted all day, every day. That's all they did. And because they were used to like living rough and living wild. But the interesting thing
Mhm.
is, a large number of them were gay men living in devoted partnerships for their entire lives. So it'd be
Love it.
two men that would work together to hunt and then sell meat, and they would then become pirates frequently because the pirates were fine with that as long as they were loyal shipmen and loyal to the crew and everything. That's also where the word mate comes from, is the French word matelot, which is a name that was used for the partners, for the lovers. So When you call someone mate, you are calling them in some version of "you are my gay pirate lover."
Cannot wait to use
That's why I
this
love
against
pirate.
the next homophobic cross.
Mate,
I cannot wait.
Wait,
That is
no.
mate, and
that's
buckaroo.
facts.
So much ammo have I gotten from this, and also
So
my man-hating qualities as soon as he said, like, these gay men, the
Bukanye.
Boucanier, um, and they were, like, gay lovers, and they were committed for life, and I was like, "Huh, the only time a man could be."
committed is with another man.
That's the man okay, I know that's not true, but that's the quote, unquote, "man hater"
But
in me.
No, but
Humphrey can alleviate our fears of men that aren't loyal because Humphrey and his wife, how long have you guys been together?
31, almost 32 years. I met her when I
But
was
see,
20.
And
this proves my point,
Lee,
though.
but Blake, I kid you not, we would
Mhm,
be in class and,
mhm.
like, something would come up with, like, art or whatever. Humphrey always had a reason to bring up his beautiful, wonderful wife. My beautiful, wonderful, my incredible wife, and that, like, is such a great example. Like, we all knew who Humphrey's wife was because Humphrey loves talking about his wife.
So, okay,
It's
so
great.
men can be faithful if they're pirates, is what I
Yeah,
heard.
correct. That's exactly right.
This is what I heard. Men can be faithful if they're pirates. Ladies, gentlemen, whomever
Get you a
you identify
pirate.
as out there,
Get a
get you
pirate.
a pirate.
That's right.
Get a pirate.
I
There
mean,
you go.
pirates do there's something about a pirate, about the freedom of it, the making your own, like, life for yourself, that there's an appreciation, like, if you can love your ship that much and, how much you take care and love that, and then, you are in charge of, if you're the captain, you're in charge of everybody on it, there's a love and dedication that you have to that I think that enhances love and dedication in a relationship.
I would agree. Yeah, definitely.
That's
I mean, as long as you can
yeah.
balance both,
Also
but
hilarious we're saying that because my next thing that I
mhm.
just wrote, um, LOL next to is, log number 27. "Mine enemies are scattered, my companions returned. This night is a bloody damn good night, the best since we've left Ireland. And old Ireland, alas, I believe I will have another drink. Ah!" And then the very next log, the following day,
Mhm.
conditions, no longer drunk. All else continues as before.
You guys know what?
Okay,
Let that be my condition of today.
There
perfect,
you go.
perfect.
No longer drunk.
I was
I
gonna
thought
say,
that
And
was
Kathleen,
when
you
I
gotta
woke
read
up
that.
this
You gotta read
morning,
that drunk, man. He is hammered at that moment. He is completely wasted. So,
no, no
so
longer drunk is
great.
the best moment ever. The amount of
that
maybe it's because I'm Afro-Caribbean that I'm just like, I vibe with it, and the drinking and the just like debauchery and the freedom of it or whatever. But like, even going back to when they first got there and they're like, all of this new wine and
Oh,
oh,
yeah,
they're like,
the
and
7-Eleven, taking all the alcohol from
oh
7-Eleven.
my gosh, and we tried this thing called tequila, and I'm
Oh,
just
yeah.
like, and you know what? We can say that we really enjoyed it, and I was like, "Hell yeah."
yep,
Yeah, you did.
that
I'm
is
sure
true.
you
You know what?
did.
You should be worshiping the god of tequila, not the god of
Yeah,
Verizon.
that's
Yes,
true.
good call. Good call. They should have done that.
This is my last quote,
Mhm.
and this is when finally the reader in the book figures out how the hell did these 1600 pirates get here? So this is it, and it's is it literally the last page too? Yeah, it's the last page, and that's where you finally figure out what happens. Finding out further, I discerned runes, old Celtic pagan script, painted on the stern of the ship. They were glowing, brighter than a lantern, with a silver light. I cannot read the druid's tongue, but I believe one of the runes represents the word for blood. And that is how you discover, and we are spoiling it because, again, people, you've had this entire episode as well to catch up with us at this point. But that is how Cain shed blood at the beginning of the book, and that is what transported them and opened this portal, I guess, portal
Something
mystical.
like that.
Yeah. way to enter this other realm or time lapse, and then he sheds blood again because they got in the fight with the other, ship and with the other dude, I can't remember his name right now.
Hobbs.
No,
The bad
Hubs.
guy's Hobbs.
The double devil guy?
Yep. The
Yeah,
Devil's Lash.
Double
yeah. And so he sheds blood, and it immediately, transports them back to their time again. And so that so we don't know. I mean, maybe it explains it in the book, or maybe it explains it in the other books. But I have a theory: did
Mhm.
his mom do that? Did his mom inscribe it on the ships?
Okay, so this is we have now hit the point where I really, really wish that I had gotten you the larger book,
No.
Kathleen.
Oh, it's in
It's in the
that.
bonus chapters. See, Blake had the clue from like, I don't even know, it's maybe the first or second. So all right, let me hang on. So here's what happened. I wrote this as a
Mhm.
blog, I published it as a blog. When I got to
Mhm.
about 40 chapters, I think that's where it is, 40 chapters, I thought,
Mhm.
this is a book. And I had not made a book at that point that I really thought of as like a book that I had published. And
Mhm.
I had been trying to pitch the vampire book to agents, and I'd been rejected a bunch of times. And that was about when I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to try publishing this myself. So I
Oh,
decided to make Damnation
best
Kane into a
mentality.
book. So my first printed, bound, real book is Damnation Kane.
Mhm.
I love it so much. But like, I also thought, this whole thing has been online. Like, there's nothing new in this book. It's already been available for anybody who's been reading the blog. So I
Mhm.
should add something. So I first published the book as just the logs, and that's the one that you bought. And then I went back and I added 10, I think it's 10 bonus chapters that are mostly backstory. And then also some things like where we only get Damnation's perspective, I went and did like the other side. So like at the end when O'Flaherty and Burke and Carter are in prison, after they get caught after the mutiny, there's at least one scene and maybe two where they're in prison and they're finding out things and talking to each other about being in prison and what that's like, and then talking about how they're going to deal with damnation. So in the very beginning one, maybe the first interlude, it's actually Hobbs on the devil's on the sea cat chasing
Yes.
after them. And
And he says, because I remember this distinctly, because I was gonna ask,
I'm
and
yeah,
gonna be so.
and I
oh,
forgot. No, he says, so they're like
I'll send
they're
you the book. I
asking
swear.
ho sorry, I got so
Go, go, go,
excited
go,
that
Tell me,
go.
I
tell
wanted
me. I want to hear
okay,
it. I need to
okay. So
know.
they're asking Hobbs, they're like, "Why are we chasing this ship?" They're like, "Yo, there's a gazillion bad guys back there. Why are we following this one
They
through
spend
literally
two
hell
months,
and back?"
4,000 miles or something, chasing this one ship.
Yeah, like, why are we doing this? And at the very end, and when you said it, I was like, oh my gosh, at the very end of this thing, he goes, look over there. Do you not see these lights glowing
You see a
on the
silver
ship?
light glowing from the
That's
stern
a
of the ship.
hell ship.
Yep. And so Hobbes thinks it's a witch. He's like, that's a witch. And the Bible says, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. And we are going to kill that Irish witch if we do nothing else. So
Witch, he's a witch.
that's the beginning. And then at the end, there's another chapter. I told the story of Damnation having the ship built. And when he
Mm-hmm.
has the ship, because he's the one who commissioned it, he has it built, he buys it. And so when the ship is built, you are exactly right. His mother paints a druidic blessing on the back of the ship. You were right. And so
Also,
unexpectedly, unbeknownst to him, because actually, like, you get a little more detail on this in the second book. I mean, you're 100% right. It says the blessing says something like, hang on, let me see if I can find it. It says something like, "Protect my blood, protect my child, through time, through danger, anything like that." And so it takes her blood, her son, through time in order to protect him.
Oh
it's a Harry Potter
my
spell.
Oh my god. I'm actually so pumped that I was right about that
Nailed it.
because I
Nailed it.
I was like, so you kept saying the name like Druid and Druidic, whatever, in reference to his mom throughout the book. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
there's something going on. She did something. And then I read that last line. I was like, she had to have inscribed that on the ship. So at least I
Exactly right.
know that I'm right, but I need to read those other chapters because I'm mad.
Fair. You all, I mean, I
Shoot,
will tell you, I have an obsession with Burke, with Edmund Burke, the bosun, the guy with no thumbs and broken teeth.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, no, see, Blake's making the face because I gave his story, the story of his life and why he is the way he is, and it is maybe the most brutal thing I've ever written. Um,
Well,
and I mean, also like my father, bless him, has never read this book all the way through because he got to some of the violent scenes and he was like, "That's too much. I can't deal with this."
I'll
So
read it.
it is. It's rough. It's ugly. His life is ugly. But I mean, I my kind of the place where I went with a lot of these characters and with a lot of the pieces of the story here is
Mhm.
this question of like good and evil. What makes someone good? What makes someone evil? Is it following rules? Is it a morality? What is it? So you have pirates that break every rule and that steal things,
Mhm.
but they're loyal. And I think damnation is pretty honorable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But then, like, where is everybody else on the spectrum and they go in different places? So Burke is, the worst. He's the other end of the spectrum. He is as immoral as I could make a pirate, but I love him.
Yeah. I mean, Damnation Kane he's very honorable throughout the books. Like he's genuinely just trying to help people out. You know, when he makes that first bargain and deal, he's like, "Well, this is what we do. This is the honorable thing. Like we kidnapped you. Sorry about that. So like, let me give you this
Ooh, kidnap.
yeah, IOU." And then he gets pulled into all this stuff that he's like, "Oh, no, I don't like any of this stuff. This is not what I thought
Mhm.
was happening. I'm not that." He's like, "I'm a pirate, but I'm not that kind of pirate. Like,
Right. Right.
I'm not a
Exactly.
bad guy."
Right.
I love that. I'm a
Yeah.
pirate, but, like, not that kind.
Yeah.
But then he goes and
And then I
murders
think
like 10 people in one scene. So,
I mean, well,
Give
there's
it to
the concept of, like, what is like, it's hard. There's a concept
but
of,
I
like,
still
what
rooted
is
for him.
oh, we always root for the bad guys. What do you mean?
Yeah, that's
I
true.
mean, Kathleen doesn't get to like be mad at characters who are good, who are violent, not considering your
And
character.
but, that's one of the beauties of
That's
storytelling
true.
is that, like, you root for whatever side of the story you hear for the most part, right? Like, the beauty of storytelling is that you can make people root for the villain, right? So if you think about movies are on my mind so much right now. So, like, Fast and Furious, which is probably the most I've ever rooted for the bad people ever. They're literally hopping trucks and stealing the stuff off of the trucks, and you root for them.
Yeah,
You root
absolutely.
for them to
Absolutely.
succeed, and that's the beauty of, like, when especially when you tell a story that's from a perspective of someone who maybe isn't good, is that the hard part is that and not the hard part is that you get to show people how these decisions happen, the justifications, and you learn that, once you understand a couple things, you also too can root for the bad guys, the villains, and villain and bad guy is just your perspective.
Right. Absolutely.
Humphrey, I think you would really like our first episode that we did was with our mutual author friend Ray Wild. She writes horror
Mhm.
as well,
Oh,
and so
yeah.
horror book. Um, she has this really fun book. If you're picking something that's a quick read, it's like 160 pages, Blake. But
Yeah.
neither of the two characters are the hero or someone you want to root for. And it's
I
a
can't
really
remember what character I
interesting
hated.
horror novel, and it's or novella, I guess, but it's really interesting. You might like that.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a
Character
fun.
that I hate?
I Can Fix Her by Ray Wild is the book.
I know the book. I'm talking about what was the name of the character.
Oh, I don't know. I barely remember my name most days. I don't know.
I wait, no, vending, right? We're at my job, and someone pointed to a brew tank. I work at this brewery. They're like, "What is this called?" And I was like, literally cannot answer you in this moment." And then I go to my coworkers. I'm like, "What is it called?" And they're like, "The brew tank." And I was like, "Look, guys, I got like 5 hours of sleep."
Yeah. Okay. So to wrap this up, first of all, thank you so much for joining
Mhm.
us.
Thank you.
This was
I'm
so much fun. I was
I'm
so
so excited.
happy to yeah. I was so happy to invite you,
That's
because
why I'm so excited because like I loved getting to this is so cheesy, corny teen TV show of me. But, like, I loved getting to see you, Kathleen, just get to, like, geek out with one of your teachers. I think that's the coolest thing
no,
ever.
Yeah, it's so much fun, and also I know you don't like compliments, but I'm gonna give you compliments. Humphrey, you are my favorite teacher I ever had. He
She told me
and I
this.
don't know if you remember this 'cause you have taught probably thousands and thousands of students at this point,
Some of that.
but you were the first person ever that so we had to write this creative, subject, and it had to be fictional-ish and, like, somewhat true, but somewhat fictional. I don't remember what we were reading at the time, but, I was not, like, doing it because I was scared because I knew what the story was I wanted to write, and that so I didn't do it, and Humphrey pestered me. He's like, "You can do it, just turn it in, like, no matter what, just
Mhm,
turn it in, like, I'm not gonna judge you, just turn it in." And it was a really vulnerable it was the most vulnerable thing I had ever written and probably still in my life because it was just about me and my family and
mhm,
whatnot. And I remember getting it back, and not only did he not dock any points for it being late, which thank you about that, but also but also he left a little note on it and I still have it. I don't have it here because I just moved back from Maui, but it's in my files in my storage. He left a little note on it that said, "This is so beautiful. Please don't stop writing the truth." And so when I sent you my copy of the book, my book, I wrote in it, I, like, signed it and I wrote I can't remember exactly, but it was, "Thank you for teaching me to trust myself," or
Yeah,
was
that's it. Thank you
yeah,
for teaching me to trust myself.
yeah.
I'm
And
so
so
glad.
that
I'm so
yeah,
glad.
and I still have that because I was like, "Oh, I can wait. I can this is real, this matters, this is good when I do this." And so that was really a turning point, and I started and at that time, we all knew that Humphrey was, like, writing on blogs and whatever, and
mhm.
writing a bunch of books and all this stuff. We're not gonna talk about that. But I mean, you can if you want, but,
Sure.
um
No, go ahead. Finish what you're saying, and then I'll tell the story.
and so I started writing on,
Mhm.
Tumblr and, like, AO3, I started
That's
writing all
amazing.
these fictional worlds and
Humbler.
stories, like science fiction and fantasy and just random shit because I was like, "Okay, I guess I can do this," and that was, like, my
Mhm.
first time being told that, "Don't stop, like, keep doing this." So thank you.
Very welcome. I'm so glad to hear that. I did not remember, and when you said, because you say when you told me that you'd written this book that I had been part of an inspiration for you to becoming a writer, I was like, "What did I?" Because I don't teach creative writing, and, like, I was like, That's not a thing that we did." I
Mhm.
will I'll tell you, Kathleen surprised the hell out of me because in ways
Mhm.
that I'm sure do not surprise you at all. Um, she is and was brilliant, and I
Mhm.
also how do I say this in the nicest way? I taught one of her siblings
Oh,
who was
Mhm.
yeah, no, you don't
not
need
a
to be
brilliant student. Okay, he was not a brilliant student. He was fine, really nice guy, like, he did but, like, the
No,
the
he
the
did.
story that I have about Kathleen's brother was I gave them an assignment to do, like, read a book on their own, their choice of novel, and then keep a book journal, and then
Mhm.
when I got these from his class and I was looking through them, I realized that a bunch of them had written that things sucked. And that's it. They were like, "This sucks, that sucks, this character sucks, this part sucks." And I got
Mhm.
so annoyed that they wouldn't use words other than "suck" because it just kept happening, that I made
Mhm.
this presentation that I gave them that I called "The Symphony of Sucks," and I just showed them photograph after photograph after photograph of their writing where they said, "This sucks, this sucks, this sucks," and, like, half of them came from Kathleen's brother. So when Kathleen came in my class, I mean, I know better than to think that, like, siblings are like other siblings, but, I mean, I don't think my expectations were real high.
yeah.
And I mean, shit, she was the smartest person in the class and also the one that fought me the hardest and was, like,
Yes.
the most difficult to control in any way. I'm not much of a controlling teacher, but anywhere that I need to do a thing, she was the one who
Mhm.
would question me, who would be like, "Wait, why are we doing it that way? Do we need to do it that Are you sure we do it that way?" So,
So
like,
much.
that is to this day, like, my abiding impression of Kathleen, so I am not at all surprised, um, that you are as fantastic as you are, that you are the wonderful writer that you are, but I'm really glad to
Mhm.
hear what exactly it was what that connection was to writing with you, so I'm glad I said that. And hey, man, I was told that I'm supposed to, like, be less humble and more proud of myself. So
Mhm.
let me be proud of myself. So when 2010, I was keeping a blog and I talked complete shit about my students. I will say in ways I really shouldn't. There were two blogs, there were two posts. One of them, I have no problem with what I did. Well, one problem. The other one, I really shouldn't have done. I named some of my former students and I called them assholes. Um, I should not have named my former students. That's a terrible breach of
Mhm,
trust with the teacher. I'm absolutely sincere. I shouldn't have done that. I do regret it. The other one, though, the other one, the other one, the problem was I wrote it during class. And I'm writing this during class while my students are taking a test. And I wrote it on my school computer. So like I broke every rule of being an employee. Um, and in that thing, I just ripped apart my dumb ass students for being dumbasses, mainly because they just did not pay attention to anything. They had a test that day, and as I'm passing it out, they're like, "Wait, we have a test?" And I was like, "Fucker, it's been
yep.
written on the board for 4 fucking weeks. We reviewed yesterday." But when one of my students said we have a test, one of my other students goes, "Wait, we have a test today? On what?" So I wrote this out. I wrote this out in a blog, a very angry blog. That was, there was expressing how I felt. And those two blogs, and the other one that I wrote that I shouldn't have, or actually named people, they got
Mm,
found by my district. My district gave me a letter of reprimand that I deserved entirely, and then they reported
mhm.
me to the state. The state decided that they needed to take away my license to teach forever, which was absurd. But fortunately, Oregon, unlike Arizona, was a state that had teachers' unions. So I had a union. I had a union lawyer. My union lawyer fought them. I ended up settling with, I agreed that I had committed gross neglect of duty um,
Mhm.
and violated policies. And then I was suspended for a month of Kathleen's class. Um, while I was
This
doing
sounds
that month is when I found my job in Arizona. So it actually didn't work out too bad for me. But yeah,
Mind
that's
you, all Humphrey did was publish what every single teacher says all day, every single day.
I like I get both sides. Like there's a part of me, a secret part of me that no one knows about. It hides deep into my heart. Of like rule follower,
mm, yep.
deep, 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 deep into my heart. Um, so like there's a part of me that's like, I could kind of see it, but I'm
You see
also
what I did?
kind of
I did
like
the wrong thing. Yep.
I'm also kind of like you, Humphrey. Like if I did it, I stand 10 toes down. I did it. So and, like, now but the thing is that, like, okay, you guys were upset about it then, but now you get to look back on it, and it's iconic, and you can never say
I
like
loved it then. Wait, mind you, the students loved it. The students loved it. We thought it was hilarious
yeah,
because
of
Yeah,
course you did.
we were like, "Yeah, all of us are assholes." And we were like Humphrey just described, I spent the entire class period arguing with him. Like, I
That
was
sounds
an
like me, by
asshole.
the way.
yep.
That is
I'm
so
not
rude.
surprised. Not
Yeah.
surprised.
No, it definitely Kathleen, let me you don't wanna know how many teachers don't like me.
Teenagers
It's
are
about as many
assholes.
as don't like me.
Yeah.
I got thrown out of 11th grade history for reading a book.
No, wait, so I'm
There's more to that
super
story too. Go ahead, Blake. You talk.
Uh,
I'm super ADD, right? Like everybody kind of knows that. Clearly, you've noticed this podcast with me, and it's worse right now because I'm so tired or whatever. But my mom didn't tell me that I had the diagnosis, but my parents created this thing, and this is how I fell in love with books. Actually, um, that we were reading Harry Potter, which is why all of the terrible things that J.K. Rowling has done, I still stand 10 toes down for Harry Potter because it was the beginning of something for me. And to me, that's important. Um, but I also understand everybody else's feelings about it too. This is just like my personal story.
Book
And so I
J.K.
finished
Rowling and also
yeah.
her book
Yeah.
adaptation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I read it, finished it before the class finished it, finished all 3 books at the time because it was not 2000 yet. And J.K. Rowling was in a legal battle with the guy who wrote Artemis Fowl. Cannot believe I remember this, but he was saying that she stole the concept of his book. And so book 4 was pushed back. No, insane. The fact that I remember this. But anyways,
Mhm.
this the long story. Um, so what my parents how I ended up being able to read the rest of them was that I finished it and I'm like, okay, guys, I'm bored. Are we gonna do something else? And my parents had come to the resolution like, "Oh, she really loves to read, and if you give her a book, she'll shut the fuck up in, like, the best way possible."
That's
But no,
amazing.
if you give me a book, I will legitimately, like, give me a book, give me some tea, give me a candle, I will shut the fuck up. I've will spend time in a car, shut the fuck up. I will go in my room, shut the fuck up. Like, they were
Ooh,
like, "Oh, we know how to finally make this in." And this is why I say I had so many problems with teachers is that so then they tell my teacher like, "Okay, hey, this is before independent education plans, whatever they're called, existed." They're like, "All right, so you're mad at her because she finishes work before everybody else and she talks to them or she tried to help them do their work. So how about we let her read?" And that come to this conclusion. All my other teachers were okay with this. All of my other teachers that weren't my English teacher was okay with this. My English teacher threw such a huge fit about me reading because I finished my work before everybody else.
I hate
And
that.
I'm like,
I hate that.
I don't understand. But like that's how I fell in love with books. But it would, that teacher, there are a couple teachers, that teacher really did not like me. And I'm in 3rd grade. How old are you in 3rd grade? Like 8? How do you
Yeah,
dislike an
yeah, 8, right.
eight-year-old that much?
That's nonsense. That's bullshit.
But n but I mean, later on in life, I've honestly I think my English teachers and I are the no, I've either had really terrible English teachers or really amazing English teachers. I've never had anything really in between.
So you wanna know something, Blake? So I had Humphrey sophomore year, and then he left and
Mhm,
went to Arizona. The following year, I had a different teacher.
mhm.
And it went from having a classroom where we could bring up any topic of the books and discuss it and debate it to you're going to talk about exactly what I want to talk about. And if you don't say it exactly how I want it to be said, you're not getting credit for it. And so that was a mind fuck for all of us because it was our exact same class, the same people that were in Humphrey's class in this new class for junior year. And we were like, what?
Mhm.
What is
Like,
going
what's
on? Why
happening?
aren't we allowed to debate? Like, you just want us to agree with you. What is this class?
I think that sums
And
up
Humphrey
the,
knows what I'm
like
talking about too. Yeah.
Hate
the
that.
2 basic like, the 2 types of English teachers, right? We're having a conversation earlier about how all of our books have like errors in them, or we're just like, fuck it, read the book, they have errors. Then there's the English teachers that are so like on point, grammar is grammar, this is this, you have to do it this way. And I think that that is one of the things that I love hate about this so much is that people always ask me what my favorite um like what are subjects there we go what my favorite subjects are in school, and then we're math and English, and they're like, you can't like them both, and I'm like, I do, because you do like math and science and history and English, right?
Yeah, right, right.
But I always loved English and writing specifically because it gave you like the freedom. You learn all the rules of poetry and then you get to break them.
Exactly right. Yep.
But some teachers are like, no, you have to follow these rules, and I think it's like the purest people who are like, English is English and has to be this way. And then there are other English teachers who are just really creative and they love the creative process of it. And they're like, English is a class where you get to learn and express yourself. It's not like this thing that you're supposed to do perfectly because we don't even speak English perfectly for the record. And English class in general makes no legitimate sense. I just want everybody to know that having a class called English is stupid.
Not
Okay,
wrong.
we do
You're not wrong.
have to end this, because I have to go.
Uh,
Yeah, crap.
Because I have to go. But, thank you again, Humphrey, for
Thank you.
joining us. This was incredible, and, we can have you on again for Brute once we read it. Show it off again to the camera so people can see.
Yeah.
Yes.
And where can people purchase your books?
So all my books are available on my website, theodenhumphrey.com. There's a books link at the top. They're
Mhm.
also I use lulu.com to publish them, and if you search my name there, it'll come up. Um, the Damnation books are also on Amazon if anybody wants to go there, but it's better to go to Lulu or my website.
Yep, because we've said this before,
Definitely.
authors do not make, like, any money from Amazon, and also,
Mm-mm.
fuck Amazons.
Fuck Amazon,
Uh,
yes.
yeah. So buy
Definitely
from
gonna go to
websites
your
or buy
website.
from Lulu.
Cool.
That's the best
Mhm.
place.
You can
Do you
read the
want
blogs there, like
Instagram? Do you have an author Instagram or no?
I don't have an author Instagram, just my Instagram. People are welcome to look at it. I have started eating really disgusting things and then narrating how it feels to eat the disgusting things. I call it Humphrey's Horrors. You might enjoy that.
Are y Do you have, like, digital copies of your books as well?
I don't. I don't, unfortunately. The first one does, but it's a crappy version. I know. I know. So I have to do the audiobooks. I'm going to record the audiobooks myself. I'm going to do it this summer, and then finish it next
Oh,
year. It's a requirement because last thing, and then we can wrap it up. But the character, the Lady of Joy, LaDonna Joy, that's a real person. She was a teacher at Kathleen's high school. She's a
mhm,
really dear friend of mine. She is the only person who has read my Unacceptable book, by the way. She's the only one who actually managed to read it and loved it. Um, and so I include her in the book because she's one of my favorite people. She has a
mhm,
very important role in the third book, but
mhm,
unfortunately, she has gotten older. Her eyesight's gotten real bad, and so she can't actually read the
mm,
book, not on print. So she does not even know her own story, and I cannot accept that. So I need to make it so that she can, and she likes audiobooks. So I need to record them. So that's my next thing. If I can find a way
heard.
to do an electronic version of it, I'll do that too.
Okay.
Thank you for having me
Bye,
on.
thank you.
I
I'll
really
make sure we
appreciate it.
tag your stuff on there.
Yes, please. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.